Hello. I just got a parcel in the mail there. It's a Creality Falcon 2 laser engraver cutter, 22 watt. I've always wanted one of these, so there was a good sale, and through some wrong button pushings, I ended up ordering it instead of just putting it in my wish list. So yeah, I decided to keep it. But I've got a couple other Creality products. I've got two 3D printers, one 3 Max, and the other one's an Ender 5. So I'm pretty, familiar with some of the issues Creality's had over the years. I think both printers I've had to manufacture shims to get the frames perfectly square, which isn't a real big deal. They're mass produced, they're cheap cost wise, so they're a great printer that with a little bit of setup care will do perfectly fine prints. My 3 Max, I've done several modifications to it, switched it over to Clipper, and it probably runs just as good as $1,500 printer. You know, maybe the bamboos that are out now will run a little faster with the same consistency, but I'm almost not quite at that speed, but I'm pushing quite a bit faster with the same quality over what it was factory. So I'm pretty happy with those printers. Like I said, if you want a cheap printer that'll just print right off the box and do acceptable prints, then yeah, they'll work. If you do have some issues, they're nothing glaring that's going to say, oh, I can't make a print with this. You can get a little bit better with some modifications and just some double checking on squareness and making some shims if you have to square it right up. But enough about the printers. Let's get this open and see exactly what it's all about. I won't have time to probably run any prints today. I'm working some overtime right now and nights, so I just figured I had an extra hour or something. We'll unbox this and see what it is. So, out in my garage right now, it's kind of messy. I'm in the middle of putting new storage racks up and trying to organize everything. But that's how life is, right? So, looks to be packaged pretty good. I just opened up the bottom. Let's get this flipped over and open up the right side. Oh well, half my work's done for breaking down this box now anyways. So, by no means am I any professional. This is the first time I've actually physically even seen a laser engraver printer. I've watched a ton of reviews, so I got an idea of how they work. But as far as being a professional at any of this stuff, no. I'm here to be the same as an average guy saying, hey, it'd be kind of neat to have one of those and make some knickknacks and play around with it and see what I can do. Maybe make some Christmas presents, some Christmas ornaments, coasters with pictures, stuff like that. So it's going to be a journey. It's kind of the same as when I got my 3D printer. I didn't really know much about 3D printers, but I do have a engineering mechanical background, so it wasn't too hard to figure out. Plus there's a wealth of information on YouTube. So what do we have in here? We got Creality Falcon 2 operation guide and a flowchart on the back for, I guess, how to set it up, and this is how to control it from the card locally or control it from a PC. Kind of a flowchart. That's kind of neat. Flowcharts are always fun. What else we got in here? Oh, some stickers and quick start guide. So I chose this printer because the 40 watt was basically, I didn't want to spend that much money on my first one. This one was a little cheaper, 22 watt. Plus it was on sale for, must have been around 30% off. So it was at that price point where, yeah, I can give it a go and see how it works. If I don't like it, I'm not out too much. Probably sell it for a decent price, close to what I paid if I had to. If you can find someone who wants it. But even if I only do certain things on it, I think it'll be worth it. Plus, you know, there's other ones like X-Tool, a couple other ones I looked at. For the same power, they're about $500 more. Now, I'm in Canada, so that's Canada rupees. But yeah, so features, plus the familiarity with the Creality products already, I figured this is probably the better one to take a chance on. So in here, looks like we have our focus adjuster, a brush, a cable, some leg extenders, and a few pieces of material to play around with. We got the laser head itself. Power supply. Safety glasses. Oh, the other part of the power supply. Now, this probably won't be where this stays. I've got a shop out in the back. I'm in the middle of insulating that and building shelves and workbenches and stuff like that. So it'll probably have a permanent home out there, and I'll make a wooden enclosure or something like that with a viewing window and dust fume extractor setup. But the garage will work temporarily. I got a big window in the back I can open up, and the two garage doors if it's dusting me out or whatever, smoking me out. So we got a little tool kit. It's got some screws, all the tools you need to put it together, do maintenance. Looks like it comes with a little SD card too, and an adapter. Oh, and the cleaning cloth must be for the laser lens. Yeah, a few little things in there. I guess we'll find out what those are for later. And one of the other bonuses to this one, and part of the reason I went for it, it comes with air assist. So it's got a fancy little pump here. Oh, get to peel off the new plastic. That's up on that. So it's got little rubber vibration, anti-vibration feet. What else we got in here? We got the 4 main legs with silicone rubber bottoms. Set in there. And that's it for that. Seems to be packed really well. And another bonus of this Creality one is it comes pretty much assembled. So this is the metal protection plate you put underneath there, so whatever you're lasering doesn't go through onto your desk. If you watched a lot of the videos, it seems all the guys that got free units from Creality to test got a honeycomb cutting surface for, in addition to this, and they got a rotary tool for doing glassware and stuff. That doesn't come with the basic one. That's a more expensive kit. So if you're watching these guys that get the free products all the time and are reviewing, they got extras thrown in there on their review units. They don't come with that unless you get an extended pack. We'll set that aside. The rest of the packing out. Yeah. Let's get this unit out of here. And we can get this box off. So this is just kind of a makeshift table I set up quick and dirty here. Had an old piece of plywood. This is just the Gorilla racks from Costco. So yeah. So like normal Crealities, it's all belt driven. This one seems to be fairly good. They're not using the normal V wheel. Let's see if I can see how they're doing it here. They're using an extrusion that's a bump instead of a slot, and they're using wheels with a hollow. And it's a harder plastic wheel. There's quite a bit of play in this little gantry here, so this one seems good, but this one's got a bit of wiggle. So we'll probably have to tighten that up a little bit. But yeah, let's get the feet on. So it's got 3 different mounting holes for the feet. I'm going to use the biggest one because I did a quick calculation there, and I think my piece of wood's big enough for it. So we'll just get these screwed in. And I haven't been using the guide yet just because I've watched probably 4 or 5 unboxing reviews of this thing. And it's pretty straightforward to assemble. So the extension feet, I think that would only come into play if you're going to be doing bigger stuff or using rotary table. There. Move that to where we can see it. So one thing you can do is you can check the side to side motion, and there is a little bit of that. So where did the tools go? I got a wrench in here, which I am assuming, like all the other Creality products, comes with all the tools you need to adjust your eccentric nuts. So right here, can't really see that, but there's a little nut there. You know, and that end feels pretty good. This end's pretty sloppy. So there it is there. Down here there's a little eccentric nut. And what that does is as you tighten it, it pushes the wheel up. So you want to go till that slop's gone, but you still want it to be able to move freely. So I can probably get a little bit more tighten. that top one's good. But you can see how, I don't know if you can see how loose it is or not. Maybe I can get it up closer. You can hear that clicking, so that wheel's not even tight. So for that one, the eccentric nut's right here. So what I'll do is as I turn it, so that got rid of all that slop. Might have turned it a little too far, too fast. So you're just looking for the setting. Oh, that's too loose again. It gets rid of that slop. It still allows it to move nice and smooth. So this one seems to have every rotation of the motor has a little stop point. I'm not sure if that's proper or not. Just checking the belt tension. Seems good. So let's set this back down. So yeah, it feels like it's smooth in all the directions. That must be the hose for your air pump. And you got that hose. So the next step would be putting your laser module on. Well, I guess before I do that, I can throw this plate under there. And this looks like it's got some plastic on it, so we'll get rid of the plastic. So you can see this is nowhere near big enough. If I bring this to the origin, it's going to be somewhere in there. So it's probably about a little over a third of the size of the bed, but if you're doing small stuff, you just position it where you want it and it'll work for now. I did see a bigger honeycomb that would actually fill this right up that I'm thinking of getting. Honeycombs, like 99 bucks on Amazon. It's not a Creality one because the Creality one's small too, which is weird. So let's take a look at this. So this is our laser. So this one has, I don't know, with a little button on top yet. I guess I'm going to have to read the instruction manual on it for that. But the specs on this one are supposed to be 0.1 of a millimeter for your laser dot size. It's 22 watts optical power and 24 volt DC input power. And it's the 455 plus or minus 5 nanometer wavelength. So it's supposed to work pretty good. So that just slides. Loosen these bolts off a bit in there, and you tighten these two bolts. So now that's mounted. It It's got two little Velcros on here, and this just plugs into, camera angle's no good, I'm just using the cell phone here. So it plugs right into there, and this air hose goes right in top. So have that move to the farthest point. Let's see. So we got two of these on here, but they do have holders here that looks like the air tube will fit in there too, and it does. We got the air hose and the electronic cable there. Yeah. And we'll use these little ties. Make them all neat. And there's a couple more ties, 3 more ties in this little toolbox package. There. So that's all set up in there. Now I'm just going to pull out these instructions just in case there's something in there I'm missing. Oh, where is it? Okay, there's a thing of all the parts you're supposed to have. Assembly directions. Install 4 risers. We did that. 3 positions. So if your workbench is a little narrower, you can use those inside holes. I think it would give you another feet would be 6 inches closer together roughly. So right now I've got it on a 22-inch board and it just fits. Yeah, so if you need to raise the machine, you can stack those other 4 ones they sent. So connect the machine to the air pump. So I'm getting a little backwards here, but not bad. So I'm assuming that's the connection there. They got a little rubber grommet on that. We'll keep that. And then that pump goes there. So they got a fairly long cord, so you can probably move this air pump 3 feet away from the unit. Well, not far away anyways. So yeah, about 3 feet. And then on this side of the rail, it's just got a little DIN connection. Make sure I get it the right way. I don't know if it's a little bit of a tricky connect. There it goes. Looked like it went in one way, but it went in the other. What do we say? Okay, the air pump's hooked up, and there is a little dial on this side, plus or minus wheel, and that's to, if you want to slow down the air, think you have too much air going to it, you can just turn that dial on the fly. And then the power cord. Oh, goes into the brick. And how long is this cord, I wonder? So this is about the same 3 feet. So I wonder if I can keep it out of the way for now. That's plugged in. Yeah, I don't really like that setup. Just the way it's set up for this for now, it'll be fine. I'll have to get a power bar there. And it says to install the laser head. Connect laser module with the adapter board and fix laser module cable and silicone tube with the cable management clips. So that's what we did with these. So I guess these are the clips they're talking about. Then they tell you to use Velcro ties after you put that in. Oh, that's it. We're set up. Says the next thing is printing. That was the fastest I've ever set anything up. So let's just see what I have to power this with. I only need one plug, because the air pump gets its power from the same block, just through the connection over here. Just bear with me, I gotta find an extension cord. Oh, let's see if this one will reach. Okay, so it's plugged in. Now, get these ready, and we'll try. If it's like everything else Creality has, it's should have a pre-printed file on there. I don't know what those are for. There's a bunch of little screws. It doesn't say nothing about any screws in here, so maybe they're just spares. It's got some Allen keys. So I guess if your belt tension's out, you can undo this. And then there's a crank somewhere you turn, and it tensions in this slot, and then when you get it where you want it, you tighten it back down. But I think the belt tension's pretty good. We'll have to play with that. So what's it say? Place protective plate honeycomb. Well, let's just try. So this has a few safety features. I should have showed you this lens before I put it on, but it's got 3 lights on it. One's for air, telling you your air pump's going. The other one's a fire detecting, so if you're cutting too slow apparently and catch your wood or whatever you're working on fire, the fire light will come on. And then it's got another light for when your lens is dirty and needs to be cleaned. As well as that, it's got a tip sensor, so if it goes over a certain angle, it'll shut down. Plus it's got a emergency stop button. So you pull that up and you just push that down if it's, you know, if something's wrong. And it's got a key. So if you got your kids, if you got kids or whatever, I got grandkids now, and you don't want them to be able to play with it, just put it to off and take your keys out. Nothing they can do. But it came on by default, so You can take that key out afterwards. So let's look at what they gave me here. Is this just a dummy or is this an actual card? Oh, it's an actual card. So before we do that, let's look through this flow chart. Oh yeah. So I guess I'll have to use my computer before I can do anything. It says there's sample files on the card. Move a G code to the root directory. Insert the card into the machine and start engraving. So that's when you want to engrave just locally. You don't want to hook a computer up. You can just put the card in with the G code you want to do in the main directory. And you got some buttons on here for homing and moving around, for framing, and then a go button. So when you get position where you want it, you hit the go button. So let's just try to turn this on. So I got a beep, orange light, pump started up. It's not crazy noisy. I got a green light up top. All my 3 lights are green. So let's try home it. Do a frame. Oh, I guess it won't do a frame because I don't have anything in there. So let's just move this over like this. I just want to watch the motion as it goes across. And I hold it. But remember I said there is a stopping point. I don't see any rough movement on there, so that's a non-issue. So I guess if I had a G code in there, we could try print something. But let's just see what happens when I put that in. Turn it back on. So let's do a home again. Let's do a frame. So obviously there's no G code in the root already, so I won't be able to do that. But everything seems to be working. And you got a cable for in here for your computer. My air just quit. Not sure why the air quit. There it goes. Okay, let's turn that off, get rid of the noise for now. What I'll have to do is, I know there's probably some firmware updates for this. Now on this one, you can update the main controller, which it looks like there's a computer board hidden right in here. And then there's also a USB on top of here that you can update firmware in the actual laser head itself too. So I've got 2 files already downloaded on my computer with the latest firmware from September. Okay, so here's another thing. All the testers were getting different types of material with their thing too to test. They were getting stainless steel so you could do the coloring. The base kit comes with 3 pieces of, I don't know, looks like 1.5mm wood. Might be a plywood. Yeah, it's a plywood. Thin plywood. So it's probably basswood or something like that. And it's a little warped. So when you put that down, I can see some issues here with being out of focus in places and not printing that good. That one too, eh? So what I'll have to do is see what this metal is made out of, that protection plate they gave us, and get some, what are they, neodymium magnets, however you say it, maybe I'm saying it wrong, and place them on the corners to hold it flat. Yeah, so that could be an issue too. So I think we'll just leave this as an unboxing. I'll have to update the firmware and figure out some magnets to hold these little boards down flat, or get some different wood or something to play with before I try cutting anything. So I think we'll leave it at that, and yeah, so I'll give some impressions here so far. The cable management's all neat. You know, they got clips all the way down this rail here to hold your power cable and your air tube. Got a stepper motor here for this motion. You got one stepper motor here that goes to both belts for that motion. They include a focusing tool. So I don't know if this can be backwards or not, or if you can see it. Anyways, this top one's for engraving or cutting 1 to 3mm basswood. Engraving anything or cutting that thin wood. The next one is cutting 4 to 6mm, and then the smallest step to get it closer down is for cutting anything over 6mm. So, and the focus is cheap, you just, or easy. See if we can get this where you can almost see it. I'll have to get a better camera for when I actually start printing or cutting. So this is in that 1 to 3mm range. So you just set that down, drop that down till it hits that top step, tighten it up again, pull it out, and when I got some magnets to hold this down, that should be my focal length for this thin wood. So yeah, that's pretty simple. There is no Z movement on this one. It's all manual adjusted. I was looking at some printers that had automated Z movement also, which would be really neat to have, but it drove the price up, and it obviously will make it a bulky machine or something, because it'll have to have a drive system in here that can go, it wouldn't have to go too much, maybe an inch of travel or something. For 99.9% of the stuff I'll probably do, this is probably fine. You set it once, do your piece. The machine itself isn't that loud. You know, the air pump is rubber isolated, but the piece of board I just set on the metal rack, obviously it's going to make a little more noise. On a solid workbench you wouldn't do that. And yeah, it looks like I have space. I can just bring my laptop out here and hook it and run it off the laptop. From what I've been reading, it comes with a free trial for Lightburn, and it's also got another software program. Was it Laser GBL or something like that? From what I've been gathering, Lightburn is the way to go. You get a free 1-month trial, and then it's, I think in Canada it's like $80 for a lifetime subscription. In the States it's like 50 or 60 bucks. So yeah, everything I've been looking at and stuff, the features you get with Lightburn are well worth it. So that's probably the way I'm gonna go. And yeah, that's about it. You know, it's nice seeing a solid frame instead of just 2020 V-slot track. This doesn't twist at all. It's robust. A lot of the issues you have with some of the printers, the way they're put together with the 2020 slot, if they cut, like if you've got an axis like this for your Z axis, and the width on the bottom is where I had the problem on my 3 Max. It was a tiny bit narrower than the width on the top. So what I was getting was binding going up. And that would translate as layer lines on my product, my print. So I had to find my good measuring tools and find exactly what that distance was. I just printed out a shim and put that shim in there, and problem gone. So traditionally with the Creality 3D printers, it's little things like that. They're mass produced, and that production isn't exact. It's close. But you know, a 1/2 millimeter out there, 1/2 millimeter out here, it adds up and can make a difference. Plus the wheels on these aren't the same as your normal palm wheels that wear out and leave flat spots if you tighten them too much. These probably will too if you really crank on them, but they're more of a hard wheel. So well, I see I got a couple nicks in the extrusion here. That shouldn't. Oh, see, that binding's gone. That's weird. But yeah, that's all rock solid now that I tighten those wheels. It's still got good movement, nice and smooth. Yeah, so far, so tensioners are down here for your, down at the back end for your side belts. But so far, I'm happy with it. It's seems to be good quality. There's a few holes, I don't know what they're for. Got 4 holes in the back frame. Okay. Maybe you can mount some different accessories to it or something like that. So yeah, so that's the Creality Falcon 2 22-watt laser. I'll do some firmware updating and I'll put out another video. Okay, have a great day everyone. Bye.